All right, welcome to the Great Conversation, where we indulge in healthy dialogue about topics that are important in today's society and culture. Man, oh man, we have a panel, a slew of guests today. Man, I'm really excited about today's conversation. We are going to be speaking on the topic of religion, God, and practices. Okay, but first, let me go ahead and introduce some of our guests here. Do I have somebody else trying to get in? All right, man. My first guest, man, is not really a guest at all here on the Great Conversation. She's actually one of the producers here on the show. I want you guys to also welcome the co-owner of Locked in Focus Productions and the owner of Earthly Vibrations, where they actually match people with stones. Hyphen X, thank you for joining the conversation today.
Ooh, Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
All right. Man, we're gonna have a great show today, man. Hyphen X, thanks for coming from behind the camera to in front of the camera so people can finally hear the little nag that be in my ear on the rants.
Hey, now. I'm bold enough to get on camera about this one.
Yeah, I see. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next guest here, man. Our next guest, man, is a semi-professional football champion and youth football coach, and also a master certified trainer with major Fortune 500 companies. All right, I want you to welcome to the conversation someone I've been knowing for over 15 years, James. Doc, thank you for joining the conversation today, bro.
What's happening? Hey, man. I just want to first say it's a pleasure, man, to be here, brother, and to like I said, break bread with you once again, because I told you I was coming back when we did the last episode. Brandy, how you doing, dear? Everybody else, man, I like to talk, man, and be heard. So just happy to be here.
All right, most def, bro. We definitely gonna get to it, man. Let me introduce our next guest, man. You heard James. Go ahead and give her an interlude. This is my sister, Dr. Sister. She earns it all, the titles. Okay. Joining the conversation, man, she has authored over 10 books and has taken on the mission of educating and mentoring our community. Welcome to the conversation, Dr. Brandy Brown. How you doing? Oh, hold on. Can't really hear you. Uh-oh. We can't hear you. I think I can read the lips though. She said, pretty good. How are you? I'm doing great. We're gonna work on that audio and get right back to you, okay? All right. Who else we got joining the conversation here? All right, this next sister, man, she is the host of the Weekend Warzone podcast and go get her, okay? Put her mind to it, gone, got it, achieved. Jazz, thank you for joining the conversation. Oh, wait, let me unmute you.
Okay. No, thank you for having me. Thank you for the introduction, okay? I'm happy to be here. I'm definitely excited to share with you guys something I think a lot of people have kind of like a lack of knowledge of. So I'm really excited to just bring forth what I got.
All right, bet. All right, and let's see who else we got. Where my mans go? There you go. All right, man. Now here's a young man I don't really know too much about. I'm looking at his face. He looked familiar to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 1,000 with it yet. I'm not really for sure. You know what I'm saying? But he reached out, came on one of the posts, man, was just like, hey, I want to join the conversation. That's what we're all about here on Great Conversation, man. Just different people coming from different aspects of life, coming together and being able to talk about things, man. Give a real warm welcome to my man, Spencer Carter, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, how you doing, man? I appreciate you for having me on, man.
Hey, it's not a problem, man. All right. So, anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Let me put y'all in the gallery real quick, fam. All right, I'm good. Back to the speaker. All right. So here we go. we're gonna go ahead and hop into it, man. Nothing has united or divided humans more than the belief of the collective, its God, and required practices. Okay. Now, this is shown through time, through wars. They have documented the Crusades, not just in Christianity, but also in the Islamic culture as well. Also, other nationalities and cultures as well. Now, I want to just give you guys a brief backdrop on my religious background. Okay. Now, my religious background, I stem from what is called the Church of Christ. We are a non-denominational church. We believe that we are the only church. If you have to be a member of the church that Jesus Christ died for in the Bible, and you have to be a member of this church in order to go to heaven. You know, that was one of the major precepts to it. We did not believe in having musical instruments in worship. We worshiped on Sundays. We had 2 services. Well, you had Sunday school at 9:45. At 11 o'clock, you had midday worship. And then at 6 o'clock, you had evening worship. So that was pretty much my religious background on how I came up. Now, I'm going to go straight here to Jazz real quick. Jazz, can you tell us what's your religious background?
No problem. Okay, so what I like to claim, and when people ask me, is secular, which is just basically kind of unknown, I guess. It's not, a lot of people think I'm atheist because I don't have a religious background, but I wouldn't ever say that just because it's not like I just don't believe in anything at all. But from my thing is, I come from a predominantly white family. My mother's white, my dad is black, but I kind of was more around the white people. And I'm not saying white people don't believe in God, they don't believe in Jesus, they don't go to church, because a lot of people do. But the family that I was raised from, we didn't go to church. I went with my family, I think, maybe twice on Easter growing up. I'll be 26 this year. So, and then we didn't go to church really ever. Other than that, we didn't read the Bible. It's just nothing that was really, put on us as far as learning wise. But I was always taught to learning, like, okay, you're a Christian. You believe in God, you believe in Jesus. But me being the person I am, it's hard for me to believe in something I have no knowledge about. You understand that? So it's like, hey, the sky's orange. You have no knowledge of it, nothing, but you just have to believe it. It's hard for me to do that. So growing up, obviously, I told people, hey, yes, I'm Christian. I believe in God, Jesus. But when the conversation, went to depth, I was always kind of like a lost puppy. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. I knew about Noah's Ark, and that was it. So, I was really I was embarrassed a lot of times. I was confused growing up. So once I just became of age, I just decided, like, okay, you know what, right now I'm unknown. But, I've tried praying, and I pray every night. I have 2 girls. We pray every single night because that's what they like to do. And we like to pray, even if, we believe in something different, they still like to pray for better things in life. So I'm all for that. Right now, something that I kind of follow is, I really follow the universe. I believe there's a higher power. I may not know what it is, but I just believe in just how the universe works. I feel like the stars are aligned some nights. I just feel like I'm deep into horoscopes. I feel like I kind of follow that path more. That's something I have a little bit more knowledge about, and that's something that kind of just is active in my life. You understand? Like, I know some people catch the Holy Ghost. I've never caught it before. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's real. It's just something I can't really get in tune with, or just, get in depth with when I don't have any, it's never been active in my life. So like I said, the universe, just me following the universe, that's just something that I'm more like in tune with. I can kind of more explain and just be more educated on.
Yeah, I can actually agree with you on some of those things. Like I was like, I believe that we're all just you're given of a religion, you're given a belief, through however you're brought up. Like you said, you guys weren't really practicing, like, going to church or things like that nature, but you guys were still practicing Christianity because you're told that, hey, you're a Christian, you believe in God, you believe in Jesus. You know what I'm saying? X, Y, and Z. Sometimes some people do require some more tangible things, like you said, tarot cards, things of that nature. So I can see when you're saying that one to you is more relevant to your life. You know what I'm saying? Because you're actually it's tangible. You can see it. It makes sense to you. It's something that you had to learn about, opposed to being told about. Yeah, so thanks for sharing here. I'm gonna go ahead and just stay tuned. We're definitely going to go through everybody here real quick, and then we're all gonna come back and get it cracking because I got some questions for you. All right, so gonna hop on over here now to let's see, it's Dr. Brown already here. All right, let me see here. Unmute. All right, Dr. Brown, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead, tell us your religious background.
Well, my religious background. Well, let me first get the definition of religion. That's that's doctor in me. I got to get the depth.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Doc.
Religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power. So, as for me growing up, my family, my father's side was African Methodist Episcopal, and my mother's side was Baptist. And so the other family members were like Pentecostal. And so me growing up, it's been a self discovery. As a young child, I've always felt God, always felt Him. And I did go to a Christian school. I went to Christian Life when I was 3, 4 years old. And but I always, as a child, felt connected to God.
Uh-huh.
And I just knew there was something beyond me. And so really, I because of the different self discovery and encounters that I've had, I knew that I had to get to know God more. So yes, I do go to a church, and the definition of a church is a building used for public Christian worship and worship of God, or worship of God. And I go to also assemblies too. And assemblies are a group of people gathered in one place for a common purpose.
Uh-huh.
And so, me personally, you know, I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I love the Lord. And I do have my denomination. I just say I am AME Baptist. That's what I say.
Okay.
And I say that proudly because of African Methodist Episcopal was started by Richard Allen, who was a runaway slave. And because of my family and being like so rooted in African culture, there's I have that connection piece of African Methodist being brought up AME. So my my religion, my belief, and my behavior is African centered, whereas my faith belief is in God.
The doctor is always gonna break it down. So as we used to say at the church I grew up in, the prayer used to be right before the preacher came up, make it so plain that even the little ones can understand. Okay. So I appreciate that, Doctor. I'm gonna go ahead, gonna hop over to the next guest here, man. Now, Doc, tell us, what was your religious background, bro?
So my religious background is Christianity. I mean, it's Christianity. I started off with a kind of more of a Baptist, I guess, upbringing. Really no upbringing at all, I guess, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, up until I was probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8, right? And once I really started getting in church, I had a buddy that lived across the street from me. And we used to play, and he was, we just got real close. And then ultimately it came to like, come to church with me, right? So that's kind of where I started off with the actual true Christianity. But I guess my thought process is that like Christianity is just so vague and it's just so broad, and so it just, initially it made sense to me, and it's what I've always known. I mean, I live in America, and the top based religion is Christianity in the country that I live in. So I think about that stuff too as I get older. But again, going back to where I initially started from. It all started with Christianity. I remember the first time that I really actually got in the Christian religion, and I'll explain a little bit here why I mean like saved, right? In the Christian religion, as far as me, like kind of realizing, okay, there is a higher power. Like me going to church, like just going with what I believe in, because that's what I was taught, when I was fed, and with all due respect, it's just where I came from. And I remember going to Cross Currents, is what it used to be called, the church right next door to Guilford.
Okay, yeah.
Where they used to have Cross Currents, and my buddy used to go there because he used to go to Christian Life, And I just remember, like, one time I was probably, in my probably it's like sixth grade, maybe sixth, seventh grade, somewhere kind of going into that. And, they talked about being saved and, come down here to the pulpit or to the altar or whatever you want to call it. And I just remember feeling so good, like, when everybody's like, yeah, you are, you saved now, you come down here, you saved. And so, I don't know, that just kind of, it felt good, and I felt it from a spiritual level. But then as I got older, even go more and more and more into church, and I started, my dad then started going to church, and hopefully I can get more into that. But then I really got devout in Christianity, and when I say devout, I mean as far as my high school days, is when my father started going to church. I wasn't just going to church from friends' house, and my father was going in depth into it, and we was going to church 3 to 5 times a week.
Wait a minute, bro. So you mean to tell me that in high school you would have been considered a church boy?
In high school, all through, brother, I'm gonna tell you this. I wasn't even cussing like 9th, 10th grade. Wasn't cussing, none of that. We had a good part of the school saying F that, like literally though. You know what I'm saying?
You were always a trendsetter. I do remember that. Yeah, I do recall that. But I was really influenced. I never really knew you was a church boy, because I was considered a church boy. Heavy.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't a church boy where
church was my gang.
From my conviction, like you wouldn't know, like me, like speaking, like with me saying it, and like, oh, but this is because of a God and this and that. But I still believed. I went to, I didn't do it like publicly, right?
Oh, okay. So you know what I mean? You was a closet Christian.
So the reason why I was saying F that, like that, they just thought I was saying F that because it was cute. You know what I'm saying? I was really saying it because God don't want me to cuss.
Right. And you didn't want to go to hell.
By God, or as in Jesus, that so anyways, you fast forward, and then like my latter years, and I'm just gonna wrap it up because I know you got to move on. And in my latter years, I mean, I just kind of started to add reason to it, and so that doesn't mean I don't believe what initially was brought to me, but like now ultimately as an adult, and I think for myself, and that's all I got, I have doubts. So that's just kind of where I'm coming from.
All right, bet. We definitely going to address some of those doubts, bro. I ain't church boy doc. Would have never known. All right, now, Brother Carter, now let me know, what's your religious background, bro?
Man, actually, I didn't know. I thought it was only going to be one of me on this panel, but I grew up in the Church of Christ, too. Yeah, man. Both my parents, heavy Church of Christ. That's all I know. Go to church on Sunday. Bible study on Wednesday.
Yeah. Hey, it's a rarity to run into us, isn't it, bro?
I know. That's why I thought I was gonna be the only one. You know what I mean? That's why I thought I was gonna be the only one. But yeah, that's me, man.
Man, that's crazy. So you grew up in the Church of Christ. So you can you remember the almost falling asleep.
Oh man.
The dry services.
Yes.
Like, you remember that? Now, you went to the Church of Christ here?
Yep, and in Rockford.
Well, what church did you go to?
Kishwaukee.
Oh, see, okay, so West Side Church of Christ right here, man. You talking to Brother Lewis' grandson right here. Okay. Yeah. That's who you talking to, man.
Very familiar.
Oh, yeah, So we definitely finna talk here, man. I'm gonna hop on over here. Okay, Doc got his hand up. Give me 1 second. Let me bring in Brock here. Brock, tell us your religious background.
As a child, Christian. But I always had questions. I always had doubts. So the older I got and the closer I got to God, the further away from Christianity I got.
Say that one more time. Let me wrap my brain around that.
The older I got and the closer I got to God, the further away from Christianity I got.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Yep, go ahead and mute her real quick. All right, so Brock trying to get it cracking on an early note. I see Doc got his hand up. Now, Doc, do you have a question? Or if not, I'm gonna go ahead and go into a question.
I mean, I don't got a question. I just want to make a real quick statement. When I say non-denominational, as I posted in the faith, that's exactly how my church was. The music didn't like so much. I mean, that's non-denominational. I went to Beloit Gospel Hall, so I relate to you and Spence on that non-denominational church, which we can talk about later.
Yeah, oh man, see, that's crazy. You don't really be knowing. Now let me ask a couple questions here, man. I did send out a list of questions, guys. So these are in no particular order. I just want to reiterate what Dr. Brown was saying. The definition of a God that we're going to use here for the sake of conversation. Okay, so for the sake of conversation, we're saying that a God is a superhuman being or spirit worshipped as having power over nature or human fortune, a deity. Okay, so things of that nature. So something that's being worshipped and whatnot. So I'm going to take. Do you guys have the ability to take yourself off mute? All right, yeah. All right, so if you don't have a loud background, go ahead and take yourself off mute. We're going to have a free-flowing conversation here, man, because I believe those are the best conversations. Now, who remembers when they were baptized? This is show of hands.
Oh, I do.
All right. So, James, you wasn't baptized. Brock, you wasn't baptized. Dr. Brown, you wasn't baptized? That's not okay. So you was baptized, and we know that Jazz was not baptized. We know that for a is that okay. So I remember when I was baptized. I just see my baptismal certificate like 2 weeks ago. So I'm about 20 years in. I should have never said a number, but I'm deep in the game. You know what I'm saying? I was in and whatnot, and by definition, I drifted. I went astray, if you will. You know, which is a part of it, right? Which is the part of it, right? What is the part about your journey to getting to know God and to you? Am I wrong in saying that? Am I wrong in saying that God could be different, something different to different people?
No, that's correct.
It's definitely like having the prodigal son moment. Sometimes we drift away, or sometimes we are in like that phase of trying to figure things out, or we question. But then the prodigal son always returns back to the Father. You know, so in this journey of life, we're going to have those moments. There's nothing wrong with that, but you should always go back to your Heavenly Father.
Okay, so you should return back. I just wanted someone who had a loud background there, so I just muted everybody there. I'm unmuting everybody. Now, Jazz, I do have a particular question for you. Now, my religious background would teach that you they'll say playing around with that devil's trick. Messing around with them cards is going to earn you a one-way ticket to hell.
Yeah. Yes.
What does that do? Like when you first picked up the tarot cards, like, and you were told that you're a Christian and you picked up them tarot cards, like, how did you feel? Got the shuffling?
I ain't touching cards.
So, so you just like getting your horoscope read by what they would call the witch.
There's an app called Horoscope.
So
Wow.
I'll take fault. I should have been a little bit more explanatory about that. I don't touch the cards. I don't like follow that. I don't do like the witchcraft as they would call it. I have a friend who's been begging me, but I like you said, I feel like honestly reading into your future or just trying to write your own story, I feel like that's automatic. That's bad luck for you. That's just, I honestly feel like everyone has a life that's already written for them.
Pause.
Hold
on. So a person trying to take a glimpse into their own future or create their own path is wrong?
I didn't say it's wrong. I personally just believe it's not. I just feel like it's not okay. I really do feel like it's not okay. Just because I feel like everybody has their life already written for them. That's why everything I believe in happens for a specific reason in life, whether you may know what the reason is or not. But I feel like you dipping and dabbing and trying to figure out what's going to happen next is just going to backlash.
Hey, when I hear who got the Rona, just making light of a serious epidemic. I'm sorry.
I
But
thought it was funny. Hilarious, in fact. Too soon, but hilarious.
But too soon, right? Too soon. Too soon. All right,
We still in it, DC.
I know, right? I know, right? I know. I can't go inside of McDonald's, man. But on a serious note here, so you're saying that. So do you believe in horoscopes? Do you get your horoscope read? Like you go to the app, you press the button, and the AI generates it and pops it up, right?
Yeah.
So in practice, that will go against modern day Christianity.
Okay.
Why?
Okay, so that will go against modern day Christianity.
Why?
So they would say, they'll say that because isn't that not looking into your future?
Mine.
Really?
The one that I have on my phone, it's more of like a guidance, not like, hey, today you're gonna get into a car accident and then tomorrow's gonna be a better day. It's not like so specific. I feel like when people get cards read or look more into their future, I think it's more like specific, like, hey, you're gonna be a tall, dark man, you're gonna find a couple, it's more specific. When I read my horoscope, it's more of just the guidance for the day. Like, hey, yesterday was yesterday, today's a new day. Pick up the puzzles, put it back together. It's more just like kind of like motivation to me, just more of guidance every day.
So when say a person starts listening to Eric Thomas, Les Brown, whatnot, motivational type things, is that not looking into your future? Is that not planning your own path?
I wouldn't say so much as planning your own path. I think it's planning your aspect of it, just more like how you're going to react to it, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people will go through, trauma or bad situations and just be miserable, be depressed, and so on and so forth. Some people go through certain things and say, you know what, this happened for a reason. It wasn't meant for me. It wasn't my time. So I think it really just puts you on a better path.
Now, I also believe that things happen for a reason, and nine times out of the 10. It's something you done did. You know what I'm saying?
Karma.
Good or bad. My big beef coming up in church was that God created man, but man was born evil and corrupt. But the only decision that an evil and a corrupt man can make that God would accept is accepting his son that died on the cross for him and accepting him and no other God. Like
that's preach.
Like that bothered me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't do anything, and then when I do something good, I have to giving all honor to
Christ, the Lord.
You know what I'm saying? First giving all honor to God. They do it no matter what. The stripper, the rapper, the drug dealer, the preacher, the nun, they all say it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like everybody gotta pay homage. You know what I'm saying? Kiss the ring. But I believe that Christianity, let's get to it. I believe that Christianity stunts the spiritual growth of people, the religion aspect of it.
Amen.
Okay, and you're saying amen. Tell me whether you agree with that. Because I'm saying the religion aspect. Can you tell me what I mean by the different aspects?
Because people get so caught up in trying to follow specific paths that were set forth by people thousands and thousands of years ago. And if you don't do it this way, then you're going to hell. If you don't agree with this, then you're going to hell. You can't just say you're a Christian, but you do like astrology. You're not supposed, you can't do that. But in the same breath, the Christians who say that are the same ones who put Christmas trees in their house. They're the same ones who celebrate Easter with bunnies and baskets. They don't celebrate. Yeah, and chocolate eggs. They're the same. It's the same thing. So I feel like, and then they don't want you to question. They don't want you to question the Bible. You're not supposed to ask questions to the pastor. If something don't make sense, it just don't make sense. Or they give you the answer, well, you need to ask God.
Right, wow. But then you get that question. Then when you get your answer back, they say that's not of God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They say that's not of God. Now, like, how many people here? Let's ask a real question here. By a show of hands, how many people would say that Jesus was a real person who walked the earth? Okay. Now that's everybody but one. Okay. By a show of hands, who believed that this person that walked the earth died for your sins? Okay, so Brother Carter, go ahead, explain to me, when did Jesus die and how did Jesus die for your sins?
When he died, of course, in Jerusalem. Died for the sins of the world, because before that we didn't have a hope, you know. And that's why Jesus had to die. It was prophesied that he had to die for our sins.
Okay, so prophecy from the Old Testament saying that there would be the one that would come to set who free?
All of humanity, everybody.
Okay. All of humanity. Okay. So he died on his sin. So BFAX got a question here. Go ahead.
Prophecy and dreaming is a form of divination.
What does that word mean? Because it sounded diabolical.
Divination is basically is looking into the future.
Oh.
But that's what God does.
Oh, so that's why they don't want you to, like, so that goes back to Jazz's point when she was saying that there's already a plan written for you. Why are you trying to look into the future and whatnot? Right, Jazz? I don't want to misrepresent you. Is that right? Thumbs up? Okay. All right. So
predestination though. Predestination.
So do we believe in that? Do we believe in fate or do we believe in determination? Like which one do we believe in? Well, is the homeless man supposed to be homeless? Is the murderer supposed to be a murderer? Is the preacher's man supposed to be a preacher? And is the garbage man supposed to be a garbage man?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, but in a way, but that's impossible to say. And here's my take on the whole thing. The reason why I come from, I understand you can't take the Bible, the Bible was written literal but it's also written with
metaphors.
Yeah, thank you. Metaphorically as well. So who are we to dissect that? And if God is God, as my opinion, I think that's exactly the readers. But that's all relative though, right? Because your interpretation is going to be a different interpretation, period. Hence, your Baptist versus your non-denominational versus your Lutheran versus your Catholic, or even on a broader scale than that, which we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah.
You're talking about your Buddhists, you're talking about your Muslims, and all of those things. What if all of those are just a people that geographically, you know, are in one spot that heard that message, and they had a prolific or somebody that was the most that spoke to the masses, if that makes sense. And then they all took on that, hence your religion.
So
and
you're
your
saying, so you're saying that everyone took. So pretty much, you're saying what the basis of religion is, that everyone, a certain group of people, they follow a certain prophet, or you know, someone who knows the future from
Right.
the future, or
Right.
from all of eternity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Coming back to reach the people.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. And to add to that, like one religion, I was speaking to a brother who was I think Hebrew Israelite, like, you know, like I don't want to, you know, mess the name up.
No, that's who they claim to be. Yes.
But the term that he used was the most effective term that I thought to use was the Most High, right? Which is all. I mean, God is translated between different religions and everything, but the Most High is like that makes sense to me. That's the best way that it's translated, but it's all the same thing, is what I'm saying.
You're okay. So but how can it all be the same thing if you're saying that geographically different prophets, deities, whatever they may have been saying the same message, but it's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying is, it's like
someone in Arizona, we can take care of our yard here in the Midwest be a lot different than a person taking care of their yard in Arizona.
Exactly. Right.
But you're both taking care of your yard.
Exactly.
You know
That's
what I'm
exactly
saying?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying that they're all preaching the exact same message, but
just in different ways, in different interpretations. So,
okay,
for instance,
I see. Hold on, real quick. I see Dr. Brown disagreeing with that. I want to give her a chance to chime in here.
Okay.
Let's mute our backgrounds. All right, go ahead, Doctor. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to mention earlier, someone mentioned destiny, and I'm over here taking writing notes too. And so, yes, before we was born, you know, God had plans for us. But in today's world, the teaching of your spiritual man, we're all spiritual beings. We are mind, body, and soul. And so some of these other religions that were mentioned, you got to keep that in mind. Religion is teaching. So it's the teaching and the practices and the beliefs of how you should be as a family, how you should be as a woman, how you should be as a man, and your social role in your society. So I just wanted to also say, somebody mentioned faith earlier. The fulfillment plan. And yes, Jesus had his purpose, and my belief in was a fulfillment plan, because after his death, his disciples, and it wasn't just 12, it was more. They had a new teaching, and that was the beginning of the new church. A lot of times when it comes to whether it's religion and belief, some people don't want to change. There's a growing process that you have to go through. And each of us as individuals has a purpose. We have a framework, we have a path. But growing spiritually in your mind, in your soul, and is also in the way that we raise our kids today. And it's just real important that we understand some of these religion is a teaching, it's a practice, and again, a lot of it is how to be in our social roles as a man, a woman, a mother, a father. It's tied into that.
Right, Dr. Brown, if I could just hop in for a moment. I agree with what you're saying as far as like the teaching of morality, the teachings of gender roles and family and being a collective unit. I understand that, but I am not a firm believer that your life is written out for you, because for that to happen, that okay, so that means Hitler was supposed to do what it is that Hitler did. And so by default, according to the Christian belief, by default, if he's doing what he was created to do for God and he dies, how does that justify him going to hell? If that's what he had, if that's what he was born to do. Just like Judas. Judas was born to kill Jesus. To betray Jesus. So was he wrong in that aspect? Should we not say, good job, you did what you were supposed to do?
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about all of it. I'm sorry. Is it on me?
Dr. Brown, do you want to respond?
Oh, definitely. Whether it's a Judas or Peter, who sliced a man's ear right before the arrest of Jesus, you know, everything plays a role in our purpose. And as evil and dictatorship as Hitler was, and his massive killing of Jewish people. And we got to keep in mind that the people who Jesus came for, he was fulfillment of the Jewish people, the people of Judah. And so, but the conflicts that were there in that time was the Pharisees and Sadducees, the Pharisees and Sadducees. And so we got to keep in mind a lot of that teaching was wrong, because in my teaching, in my Bible, it clearly states how Jesus was the fulfillment. And so when you look at previous prophets like Moses, when you look at Elijah, Elisha, and then when you look at Daniel, when you look at the historic wars that took place even in the Bible and the overcoming, you know, that's there. So sometimes the challenges and even the law against at the time with Moses, when he was a baby, Pharaoh had a hit against the Hebrew boys to be killed.
Yeah, because he was trying to stop the prophecy. Yeah, let me ask a quick question here. This is for everyone, whoever wants to answer as well. Like, okay, if all this is the case, right? Then let me say this for a disclaimer. I am not a Satanist or anything of that nature. I'm just asking questions. What is the purpose of good and evil? Is good and evil, if it's already dictated, what is it all about? If Jesus came down and died and he came for the fulfillment, that means it's already done. How many times can you pay more on a bill? Can you put more money on a bill after it's already paid? No, because Jesus paid it all, right? When I go to an open bar, if I go to an open bar, I don't expect to pay anything because it's already paid for. So if my sins are already paid for, then what is stopping me from being moral and good opposed to being bad? Because if I'm being bad or evil, then maybe am I just fulfilling my purpose in today's earth and world for society? Go ahead, Dr. Brown. I got you, James. I'm gonna have you come in, but go ahead, Dr. Brown.
You know, what you said is the ultimate question, because we haven't arrived at yet, and we haven't after like the death of Jesus, and then you had the apostles preaching the gospel, Paul to Timothy, and then
Yeah,
Timothy
the letters to
to
the
the
church.
Gentiles. The spread of the gospel has not, we haven't got there yet. And part of the distractions are, for one, the unbelief that exists in the world and people teaching false teachings. That's been a distracting. And so even in 2020, we still need believers that's going to spread the gospel. And
Which is
sometimes
the death. And for everyone who doesn't know what the gospel is the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Correct?
mhm. and
Okay.
I do feel sorry for people who get miseducated in religion based off of, you know, just selfish, just people who don't study. And you know, it's so important and that every individual does have a relationship with God, but also know their purpose. And you know, we subtract 2020 from 2,000 years ago, and we get the year of when you know, Jesus died, and but we can look at his lineage, and that's one thing I was taught about Jesus' lineage, where it was so African that that's what made me know and be proud to be black. And when I know that he's coming from the Solomon dynasty, the David dynasty, and you know,
I don't want to go too far off topic, Sister Doctor, but
but it's
but it's very. I hear you. It's very relevant because what you're saying is that once you found, going through self-identification, identifying with being black, you saw that this the deity, this Jesus character, this Jesus was a black man, and it made you proud to also be black.
but it's a like how we mentioned our families earlier.
Uh huh.
The Bible genealogy preached they preached about Jesus in the Old Testament.
Yes, the prophecies. Yes, in the prophets. Hmm. So, like you said, it was a fulfillment. He was fulfilling the prophecies because they did say that he was supposed to come and he was supposed to die for the sins of the world. Let me tell you, I didn't do very good in school, but in Sunday school, y'all, straight savage, gold stars all the time. I preached my first sermon at 12 too. Uh, now, is it important? Do you have to, in order to believe in God, do you have to believe that Jesus is the Son of God?
No.
Anybody else? So James says no. Dr. Brandy says yes. Jazz? No. And B?
What did you say?
If does a person have to believe in Jesus in order to believe in God? That's what I said, right? Something like that.
No.
Okay, no. What about you, Brother Carter?
I think you do. I mean, you can't.
Go ahead, use the verse.
I can't think of the verse right now.
You can't get to the Father.
But I mean, to get to the Father, you have to go through Jesus. So you can't skip over and get to the Father without going through the Son first.
But what if my understanding of Jesus is far different than yours? What if my understanding of Jesus is that Jesus walked the earth and he showed man how to live, but nowhere in that was Jesus a Christian. Very rarely Jesus will be called a Easter holiday Christian nowadays, because the only time you heard about him in any type of church was a Passover, you know what I'm saying, and the yearly pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Okay, so I think that we're losing sight of the fact. I think we get caught up in the church, the city of believers, where your pastors and your first ladies. Listen to the terminologies. Your deacon board of directors. You know, listen to the terminology that's being using. This was what I read that Jesus was fighting against in the Bible. These are the things that he was fighting against in the Bible. So I think that a lot of people, like, if you really, I encourage you guys, anybody that's listening right now, to really sit down and read Matthew chapter 24. It kind of really breaks things down to the simple fact that I believe that if Jesus was a person that walked the planet, the people that he came to save are dead and gone. Those people are gone. When we're reading the Bible, they're not talking to us. They're not talking to us. They're talking to the readers of the book, the people in the book, the corrupt times in the book. This is a collection of books put together to be one book, translated by many tongues from a language that nobody know.
So what are you saying?
Right.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that for God to be, the book doesn't have to be. I don't need a book to understand God. I know it's something in that tree. I know it's something that when it blows, you know what I'm saying? I know it's something that makes that blade of grass come up. You know what I'm saying? I know it's something that when I walk, I'm not losing my balance. You know what I'm saying? I believe God is a series of systems. God is a series of systems. You know, like how your heart works and how your eyes, your eyes and your brain works. The galaxies, the stars are aligned. You know what I'm saying? Things in that nature. You know what I'm saying? I think it becomes very superficial when you say, "Hey, man, when you worship God and He's been good to you, don't you play that tambourine?"
Can I interject?
Yeah.
So I guess that's an excellent point, because when you use the word superficial, that's what we are. Humans, like we are superficial creatures at the end of the day, for the most part, right? That's how we are made. We are intangible creatures. We can break it down and talk about what learning style, but at the end of the day, you have to see it to believe it. That saying is just not something that it was made just because, you know.
Oh, yeah, little faith.
Right.
And so well, I mean, like I said, that's the way we are made to do it. That's the way our bodies are conditioned to believe. And we have to see it to believe it for a certain extent.
Jazz, I see you smiling. You agree with that. Baraka, you believe? Now watch this. Be facts. Do you believe you got to see it to believe it?
Yes.
Ultimately,
yes and no. Yes and no.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. So
yes
tell me
and no.
Tell me the no part.
I can't see the air, but I breathe. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's there for me.
But watch this. But when I breathe, the evidence is my chest rising.
That's true. So that's evidence. Well, I guess you're right. No, you have to have the evidence. I like evidence.
We're logical creatures. Everybody needs evidence. You can talk about faith all you want. But let me put faith in me and give me $100. Who gonna do it? Who gonna do it?
Apparently,
God told you.
Apparently, a lot of people on Facebook for 800.
I'm charismatic. I'm very charismatic. So I convince you, hence, buy this oil. There's an infomercial right now selling oil.
Well, yeah.
Selling oil coming on UPN, WGN or whatever.
Like by the barrel?
Dude, you know, it's all placebo effect.
Like, are you talking about hold on, are you talking about crude oil or like
No. I'm talking about religious oil.
Okay.
That type of oil. That type of stuff.
The extra virgin olive oil.
Right. Science, right?
But there are other oils.
This is where I'm coming when I'm saying I'm not a traditional Christian. What I'm saying is let me just throw this out here. We are logical creatures. Our brain is made to think logically.
Bro, you're not a Christian, bro. You can't be a Christian thinking like that.
Why can't you?
They'll
Because
hush you up.
because Christianity, to be part of a gang or be part of an organization or to be part of fraternity or sorority, there's certain guidelines that you have to you got to check off. There's certain guidelines. You have to believe that Jesus is your Lord and Savior. He was sent to the earth. He was sent to the earth for your sins. Okay? He was sent to, and he died on the cross for it. He rose again the third day. He resurrected. Then you have to be able to worship him in spirit and in truth, but your worship has to what? It has to fall in line. You have to have 5 parts of worship. You got to have 5 parts of worship. You got to have the singing. You got to collect the money. The giving. Let me say it like that. the giving. You have to have the preaching. You have to have the communion, and then you have to have prayer
for salvation.
Yeah, because you have to abide by the laws. If one thing was taught in the Old Testament is that God don't play. He don't take a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all lined up. You know what I'm saying? You have to do things decently and in order.
So now let me pause. Now here's a question. Here's a question, and let me just pose this real quick. Because I mean I feel like I understand where you're coming from, and this is why it never made sense to me. Because like coming from the church that the non-denominational church, is that the golden rule is that for those who confess with their mouth, right? Like confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus died on the cross for you, that should be saved. And that is period. That's what they said. I took that literally. That's period. So then when you start going into other things like, I mean, I don't even whatever, point you was making and singing it and doing, and you can do whatever, right?
Pause. Hold on. You gotta do that because that's to go off of Dr. Brown.
When somebody tells me period, that means period. So when you say Jesus died for my sins, so all I gotta do is confess in my heart, like believe in my heart in Jesus, and say, yeah, I love Jesus. Then
that's not it. That's not it.
Literally.
But that's not it. That's like
just
saying
take one verse.
Yeah, no, but that's not it because
that's too confusing. Because there's a lot of verses in the Bible.
Hold on.
Right.
Hold on. So that goes to Dr. Brown's point when she start bringing up the apostles. Okay, see, Jesus did one thing, and then Saul, who turned to Paul, started another mission to spread the gospel, to spread it. So it's a lot of today's Christians are not Christians; they're Paulinians, because the letters that he wrote to the 7 churches is the 7 churches of Corinth or the 7 churches of Asia. Okay. The seven churches. He wrote these letters to the 7 churches on how to conduct themselves inside of a worship service. So to believe and be baptized is just the jump start. It's the membership. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go. You can get the membership at Planet Fitness, but if you don't go and play by the rules, it's for nothing. You're paying for nothing.
So let me ask you this. And like I said, and you can bring all of that. But my question is, right? If you can say that, right? And my question is what about people who don't believe or their religion doesn't come from the Bible? Does God not include them?
Well, according to the Christians, if you don't believe,
you're gonna hear the truth.
You're going to hell, bro, because the truth got to you.
So
they be lying at these funerals. So I ain't never been to a funeral where somebody going to hell.
On this, is anybody on this not a Christian? Because this sounds Christian based, and if it's Christian based to me, right? And I know you're trying to get who you want to get on the Nez, and I get that, and I'm sorry, I don't want to take over, but like I thought we was going to talk about all different religions because that's my question.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Because right here in this very room, in this Zoom room here, you have different slices of the same pie. You have different slices of the same pie. But
include my slice too, though, right?
Yeah, right. So, but imagine the slice of the pie, every time you slice it, it's a different flavor. We got different types of Christians in here, which are different. That's what I'm saying, which is a different religion. I'm not a Christian. I don't identify with being a Christian. That's my background. You know what I'm saying? If I was to be asked what I believe in, I believe in life, and I believe in death, and I believe in living. That's the three. That's it.
That sounds logical to me.
I don't know what happened in the baby making thing. You know what I'm saying? Where this spirit said, "Hey, man, you're gonna be a millionaire. You're gonna go through a lot of stuff, but man, you're gonna come out of it. Go down there and make something happen. I'll see you on the other side." I don't remember that conversation. You know what I'm saying? I remember being here and then having to do some things. You know what I'm saying?
So how is that not logical?
You said, how is that not logical?
How is that not a logical realization on
very logical
belief, on your belief?
Yeah, that's very logical.
Because that's all I'm saying. It's just that I think, like I first started off by saying that I think that when you start getting into what you need to do and do this and do that, that's when you start getting to like even bigger than just the Bible. I'm talking about, all the different religions.
Yeah, well, that goes back to my premise, James. When I first opened up here, I said that nothing has united or divided humans more than the belief of the collective, its God, and required practices. Like there's certain things that you have to do, and that spills over into your government system, your schooling system, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? At once they were saying, "In God, indivisible." They don't even say, because not everybody in America believes in God. Yes, Dr. Brown. And then I'm gonna come to you, Brock.
Like follow up what you said earlier about Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning of his writings, and he's always stating that I'm Paul, a prisoner of Christ, or I'm a servant.
Yeah.
And so one thing about Paul that it is evident is that he had a spiritual transformation.
On the road to Damascus. Mm-hmm.
But it was just like Jesus did, like a world fulfillment. We all have a fulfillment within our own purpose, and Paul is that good example. Really, most of the people in the Bible who fulfilled their purpose, and Paul's that example. And so we all have to be making transformation up. And so even in this last book that I wrote, I mentioned about upward progress. We should always be making upward progress in our purpose. And that is building community. And that's what the apostles really were doing, building that community. And what was hindering their building? Arrests were happening. All of a sudden, the Roman Empire weren't allowing Christians to gather. They were throwing the apostles in jail. They were killing them.
Yeah.
So what we see happening when we read in the Bible about Paul, but that didn't stop his transformation. Is what I wanted. That's the point I wanted.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It didn't stop it. It actually propelled him so that this is how I was taught to look at Paul. Look at Paul. You can have done anything, and God can still use it. That's how I was taught to view Paul, because his job was to actually go out and persecute Christians and kill Christians. And then on the road to Damascus, he went ahead and he started to understand God for himself. Let's see here. Let me see here. Let me ask a question here. What is the benefit? Does religion serve any? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. B, I did forget about you, but then I remembered. Go ahead. Hold on.
I don't remember now. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
I kind of figured as much. All right. Let's see here. Like, so Jazz, let me ask you a question, because you don't, what they would say, you don't have a church home. How do you feel about, because you grew up a Christian and whatnot, and do you feel like there's a heaven? Do you feel like there's a hell? And do you feel, if you were to die today, where do you think you're going? That's the question I'm asking everybody.
Okay. First I want to start off, and this is kind of off topic, but I know you said I don't have a church home, which I don't. I've always kind of been curious, like, what are they going to put in my obituary? You know what I mean? So I've just been like, I know I'm always thrown off about that, like, dang, like, how y'all going to kick it off for me? But, I do believe there's a heaven, and I do believe there's a hell. I know it's weird because I don't have too much education on everything, I guess. But I do definitely believe there's a heaven and a hell. And honestly, I don't know. I just have my own beliefs. It's so weird. I don't believe it goes off of, oh, okay, have you sinned your entire life? Have you been saved? I don't believe it goes off of that. I believe it goes off of just who you are as a person naturally. I feel like there's good people, and I do feel like there's bad people. And good people don't always do good things, and bad people don't always do bad things. I feel like it's in your soul. You know what I mean? I feel like she's got a good soul. Yes, she's made some poor choices in her life, but at the end of the day, she has a good soul. And I feel like people who just have rotten souls, like, he's just a bad person naturally. Yeah, he's done some great things in life, but he's just a bad person. A lot of millionaires have rotten souls to me. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what it kind of goes off of.
Well, in the Bible, it does say that it'll be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. It does say that. Yeah. So there it is. So you're still identifying as a Christian there, Brother Carter. Now I'm coming for you, bro. You said some things in the chat. Okay, you too quiet.
What's
you
up?
said some things in the chat. You said that you believe in the truth.
The way.
And the way. Go ahead, bro. Convert us over.
I mean, from my Church of Christ background, I mean, Church of Christ teaches you, I mean, the first thing that it teaches you not only how to, identify Christ's church, but it also, makes you familiar with his teachings, practices, and methods. I believe that this is what Satan does, right? He takes, let's just say there's, there's one Bible, which is the one truth, the one way in. What Satan does is he puts 150 Bibles on the table, and he makes it confusing for everybody to find the truth. We also believe that there's only one church. You should know that, Ned. There's only one church. And if you really think about that, that's pretty alarming. Because if Christ says he has one church, right, that means that how many denominations do we have today? I mean,
right, just on here alone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing out a number. Let's just say there's 80,000 denominations. Christ said he only got one. So does that mean 79,999 are wrong? I mean, that's staggering to me.
Church of Christ says yes. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah, that's
so what does that mean for the rest of the people?
They go to hell, bro. Or be converted over. It's killed or be killed, baby.
And you say that, but then this is my question for you, I guess. This is so for you, my brother. Which first off, let me say I appreciate you for putting this together and for stimulating my mind, because I don't get to always do that. So let me first say that. But then my second question is that you say that, but then you believe in that with the conviction of a Christian by definition, technically, in the book of the Bible. And then in the same breath, you also thought, paraphrasing, but you said that you don't believe, like you're not a Christian and you don't believe in, like you're not like a Christian. Like,
correct. When I'm giving those answers, I'm giving those answers as if I'm a Christian. So you guys are asking these questions You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But God, Christianity is that. You know what I'm saying? You're saved.
Right.
You're saved.
Oh,
You gotta
okay.
go. You gotta
I get that.
you have hold on.
Right.
You gotta go out here. You have to convert lost souls.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
yeah.
So if you're saved, then what is everybody else?
Right. But
Fucking
okay, I
doomed.
got you. And
They're
that's
doomed.
where that's where it doesn't make sense to me. I guess is what I'm saying when it comes to Christianity, which is, when we talk, when I was like, okay, well, it's not like traditional, like I'm not you're a traditional Christian now. Do I believe that? Yes, I believe that Jesus, died on the cross for my sins, right? But then you start getting then what about those people that are convicted? Like, one thing I know about religion, period, is that it's another way of making a person better. Again, like I'm not coming out here with science. All I know is I think logically. I think science is just a way of explaining, to be honest,
Logic.
for a human to understand faith and Christianity and stuff like that. Like
Scientology.
case in point.
It all goes back to God.
Exactly. It's a way of just making people recognize a higher power, whether that be, and again, we're talking just the Bible, folks. There's a whole bunch of other books that people believe the same thing. So, and I'm gonna leave it at this, and then I'm just gonna wait till I'm asked. I'm just gonna say this because, like I said, I'm a simple person. If I create it, right, and then if you want to throw in scriptures, you can throw in things like people are made. Everyone is made in God's image. Everyone. That's just that, right? Ain't nobody been able to break it down like that. So, anyways,
the Bible will be able to debunk that theory.
Right, but see, the thing is that if that's the case, right? If I made something and I wouldn't throw out that much confusion between. I wouldn't make it that difficult. I think that if you take any religion, it's all going to come down to being good to your fellow man. Relatively speaking, whatever you think that is, but that's one of the main principles. Don't kill people. Don't rob people. Be nice
until it's wholly justified.
Unless it's wholly justified, which is also relative. But I'm talking about if everything was in common. That's one common theme in the general aspect of religion. Like, you can't throw off to me or that young lady, because I was taking notes, man, because I'm really, because I really want to know. So the young lady who was like with the tarot cards and all of that, how confusing would that be to her and to me, when everybody talking about what they heard and what they believe, and that's all just coming at you at 1,000,000 miles per minute. Then really, just because it just don't make sense to me that I don't think my God, okay? I don't think my God would make life that confusing.
Yeah, but he doesn't send
I don't think it's that.
You know what I'm saying? He
I don't think it's that
doesn't send the
complex.
confusion.
Okay, go ahead, Spence.
Yeah, God don't send the confusion. It's the devil that's making it complicated. Like I said, that's why I gave the analogy about the Bibles. God has his one truth, his one teaching, his one church. And then the devil puts 150 Bibles out there and say, find the truth. I mean, that's what he do.
But Spence, how can you default? Hold on, let me speak for a second. How can you just like default to the devil puts 150 Bibles out when right now I can walk into any church right now and I can see a King James version, an International King James version, the Children's Bible. I can see, a Bible with Hebrew and Greek translation in it and whatnot. It's not that there's 150 Bibles out because they're not reading those either. So like, what is it about? It's not having a firm understanding. The problem with religion. The problem with religion is that the ultimate belief that your religion's right and everybody else's religion is wrong. Let me hop over here to B real quick. She had her hand up. I don't want to forget her this time. Hold on. All right, go ahead, B.
Yeah, don't forgive me again. I was just gonna shake it up because I've been reading this theory that the devil isn't real, and it's your higher self, your soul versus your ego which is what is created by being here on earth.
Okay, I can rock with that, and I can use the Bible to do that. And I use the Bible because that's what I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? I use the Bible because that's what I grew up on. That's what everybody's gonna look at. If you look at the story of Job, right? Let's look at the story of Job. So you got Job, you got God, you got the devil. God walking around, the devil bumping into him. Hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And he just like, what you want? I ain't know nothing. The devil's like, I'm just walking to and fro, up and down the earth, trying to see who I can devour. God says what? He offers my man's up. He said, hey, have you considered my servant Job? Oh man, Job is not gonna do nothing, man. You got your hands on him. He got this, he got that, he got everything he ever needs. He got a great family, man. I'm not gonna mess with Job unless you take your hands up off of him. Okay? So God went ahead and he took his hands up off Job, and Job went ahead and he just went through hell, you know what I'm saying? Lost all his kids, his flock, his food, his money, his woman cussing him out. He got boils on his skin. He still doesn't curse God. I say all that to say this, that we have to look at the psyche. I like to look at the psyche of the God that's presented to me in the Bible. His mentality, you know what I'm saying? The mentality of God. God is a tester. God has always been a tester. That's why I cannot believe in the fact that everything is predestined. You know what I'm saying? I cannot believe in that fact because even in the Bible, things God doesn't know. He experiments when he made man, when he made Adam. You know what I'm saying? And he got ready to what? He wanted to find him a mate. Did he just go right into the surgery and take a rib out and all that? No, that's not what he did. What he did was he brought different animals in front of Adam and saw that Adam had no attraction to them. And that's when he had the idea. He said, oh, you know what? Hey, lay down, bro. Got this. You know what I'm saying? Cut the rib out, made the woman, and then presented the woman in the same manner as he brought the animals to him. And that's when man said, this is woman. I'm sorry, this is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. And she should be called woman. You know what I'm saying? Because she comes from my rib. You know what I'm saying? So God is a scientist. God didn't know. God placed a bet on Job. He placed a bet on Job and won. So it can't be no predestined unless he's a cheater. It can't be no predestined. It can't be predestined.
I found it curious, my brother, that you said God is a scientist. Now it might have been a Freudian slip, but you said God is a scientist because that's what we understand.
Yeah,
that's tangible. Science is tangible.
A social scientist, him and the devil, social scientist to be exact.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. That's semantic.
They want to see. No, I just proved it. They want to see. They want to see what would happen to you. What would you do? What would you do if this happened to you?
Right. Well, what's the difference between a social scientist? A scientist is a scientist. Literally,
a social scientist, a person that just that studies society. You know what I'm saying? So kind of like what's happening right now. We are all kind of social scientists because we're all kind of watching what's going on with the pandemic. You all have been into the stores. You all kind of seen like in the beginning how everything was a panic and how everything has kind of been normalized now. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's, you know what I'm saying? So like it's just an observation. That's all science is, an observation and experiment.
Period. So there's no need. Science is science.
Yeah. So scientists, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Like all I'm saying is that what I guess our argument right now is there's no, if science is just that. So when I said science, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, then I'm talking about what any type of science. Science is just an explanation, like a way that our brains
explains the logic. Yes.
Not God, because I think God. Because to be that, if like, do you think you can think like the all creator?
So check it out. So how many? Right, show of hands.
That don't make sense to me.
I'm finna break it down. So like for a show of hands, who have all ever participated in hid eggs from kids? You know what I'm saying, for Easter?
Me.
We've all done it at one point in time in our life, right?
Pagan.
Do you remember?
Hey,
Dude,
I agree.
It's pagan.
I
It is
agree.
pagans, but
It is.
so is Christmas, so is birth. If
Right.
that's the case,
So-
I agree, Doc.
So real quick. So real quick. So when we done that, right? And the kids are walking around looking for the eggs, and we watch them. We get it. We're trying to see where they're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Ah, man, you ain't nowhere close. Ah, you getting warned. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of how, like, for simpleton terms, this is how it is to kind of be like God, a movie director. You know what I'm saying? These are sort of kind of ways to be like God. That's why the movie industry is so big. You know what I'm saying? Because they're manipulating the people of the mind. We think that God is some mythical creature that cannot be explained, and I'm telling you, it's not true. God is simple. God is not confusing. You know?
How? Because I'm confused.
God is not.
How?
You're confused by what we've been taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God is very simple. God is very simple. Very simple. Religion is hard.
Religion is hard.
Exactly. That's all I thought that's what. Ain't that what I've been saying?
We're having discourse, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So what you're saying is shut up. Is what you saying.
No, what I'm saying is that it's okay to have discourse, because the real I say it like this, and I'm always so respectful of my sister, Dr. Brandy, over here. I'm always so respectful to her. But this is just like real nigga conversation hops around. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, trust me, I know.
You go from talking about school to strip clubs to all the way back to the Jesus in the Bible. Like, it all ties together, all in the back alley somewhere.
Yeah.
But I love how you summed it up, because it should be simple, right?
Yeah.
So if it's and so again, I ask, I'm literally asking, if it's so simple, why do I gotta know about Joe? If it's so simple, why I gotta know about Joe? And why I gotta know about all of these things? And what if I never seen? What if my book? What if I wasn't born in America? Because that's all. If I'm being perfectly honest, right? Again, I'm talking tangible what I know. So we were put in this country that is a predominantly Christian country. Yeah. Like, what if we grew up? Or what if our ancestors? I mean, what if not? I'm sorry, ancestors was the wrong word. What if my grandmother, who I can tangibly touch, instilled in me the Quran? Ain't nobody said the word Quran today, and that doesn't make sense to me. If my God
don't have any Muslims.
That's not our background.
Exactly. So you can't tell me that at the end of the day everybody's going to see the truth, because that's what my God say, right? And he gonna believe in Christ.
Well, that's the conviction, right? Because like my man,
you can dissect the Bible in different ways, because a lot of people take the Bible.
But it's missing pages. It's missing.
You can believe in the Bible and still not be a Christian. The Bible and Christianity is not technically synonymous. You can interpret the Bible in different ways and not even believe in that Christ was per se the Savior. Hence, Catholicism.
So pause for a second.
They don't believe that Christ gives you salvation. They believe in Mary and they pray to Mary.
They're not Christians. They're Catholic. They're Catholic.
Right, but right. No, but we talk. But
they have a different set. They have a different set of beliefs. Yeah.
But yet a religion. So because I think in my opinion, what we're saying is that Christianity is we moving towards Christianity is the only religion, because Catholicism is yet a religion. So is
we have already acknowledged the fact that there's other religions. We're just talking on a common point. Now, if you look at it, there's over 3,000 religions worldwide. It's actually 4,262, something like that, of different.
At least, because I might start one tonight.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
All you gotta do is file for your. You gotta file for your non-for-profit, bro. You'll be good. Right. Get your 501c, man.
No, a little comic relief. I ain't mean that to disrespect nobody. Just a little comic relief.
No, but at the same time, there's all these different religions, and like I stated earlier, is that my belief is that you can have your own religion, you can believe what you want to believe, this, that, and the other. My problem comes in when you believe that your religion is the only truth.
Exactly.
When you believe that your way to Walmart is the only way to get there. Okay? It's the only way to go.
What if the Bible said
that I don't believe in. And I hear what you're saying, what the Bible say, bro, but then you're sitting here, you're telling me from this is the flaw in the Bible, bro.
Mhm.
I can go to any church, go into any pew, and I can pick up different Bibles and read the same verse and get something different in each one of those verses because things have been lost through translation. That's why I'm saying to be able to understand God, there's no book that's needed because the book causes the confusion.
Okay, but what about the
It's just
instructions? What
history.
about how he wants to be worshipped? How would you learn that if you don't read the Bible? You have to
Why?
learn God's ways, right? You know, I mean, you got to know what God like, what He don't like. You know, is my worship acceptable to Him? Because we all have to remember that we're not.
How did Jesus worship?
Yeah.
What do you mean? How?
How did Jesus worship?
It wasn't traditionally like no Christian. I know that.
You're telling me
How did he teach his apostles to worship?
That's a great question. Now I
See
do
what I'm
know
saying?
he told them to go out and preach preach the gospel to all nations, X, Y, and Z, and get up out here, go out here and do that. I get that. I understand.
And they did what humans did. They put in their own words.
They put their own spin on it because
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They had to for there to be so many different divisions and splits and things that goes on.
I understand, but if you go back to the Bible, how many religions was in the Bible times?
Well, so it's a Christian book, bro.
Well, I know, but I'm saying if you look in the Bible and you see what denominations or whatever was around in Bible times, and then you look at today and you see how many religions, you can kind of see what was added. You know, because the Bible doesn't mention anything about Presbyterian, Buddhist. They came later. They came later after the Bible.
Right, but Christianity did the Bible come before or after Christianity? Let me ask that.
Well, the Christ is Christianity.
You would have to think it came before Christianity.
Christ is Christianity. That's what.
I think Sister Brown. You want to answer that, Doc?
Yeah, before because there was always scribers in the Bible. There were Jeremiah. Most of the prophets had one, but you got to also keep in mind too when before Jesus started performing miracles at 12, he was already teaching. He separated from his parents. He was teaching in the synagogues, and then really, you know, there's different things that are said about what he did before he began his ministry and picking his disciples.
Right, at 30, right? Yeah.
He showed them mainly how to pray openly in front of people. He would always say, "In my Father's name," before any type of miracle, healing, or anything happened. But he always had that moment where he went away from his disciples to pray, and that's one thing that's important. And that was key with Job. Job did pray. Job didn't lose his faith.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
And somebody mentioned, you know, I think we need the Bible because it is our history lesson. It is God's history lesson to us today in 2020. And again, it goes back to the raising of our families, being a man, being a woman, being a wife, being a husband. And when God, he's always been a scientist in the Bible. Because look what he did to Sodom and Gomorrah. And we need that. We need that Bible for teaching. But if we don't have it, then we're relying on our family members, certain ones, to teach the next generation.
I believe that
they're still changing it.
Yeah, because I believe that you're saying just like what Spence was saying, he was saying that you can tell that it's pretty much some new religions going around. You know what I'm saying? Because they came after Christ and whatnot. But wouldn't Jesus Christ, when he was coming up into his ministry, wouldn't that have been a new religion?
Well, he was teaching in the synagogue, so he was teaching the Jewish religion.
Yes.
And then he was baptized. And then the Holy Spirit fell on him. And that was the beginning of that ministry. And that's what he was teaching his disciples. that ministry.
So to answer what James said, like, why do I need to know about Job? This is that and other. You know what I'm saying? These are, I believe that the Bible is a collection of books. There's no, I don't believe there's any books missing in the Bible because this is how it was printed up. You know what I'm saying? Like they put it together. This is how it was printed up. Now, are there other scriptures and things of that nature? Yes, I do believe that. Do I believe there's other things that we're not commissioned to be put into the Bible? Yes, I do believe that. Do I believe that those books could be the missing link to what happened to Jesus between 12 and 30? Yes, I do believe there's other stories and things of that nature going around. That is why I can't go off just the Bible, because the Bible is commissioned by man.
Exactly. Precisely.
Hey. It's commissioned by man, but didn't God pick these men?
Who's to say?
But did he not pick the men for the Quran?
This is what I believe.
Or any other holy book?
Hold on, James.
I believe that the Bible is God's authentic word. I believe that he said it. He just had these apostles or men of God to write it down. That's what I believe.
God is no respect.
Y'all remember the telephone game? You remember the telephone game? You say, a quick story, and then you tell the next person, you tell the next person, you tell the next person, and you tell the next person until it get back, and then the last person tell you what happened, and the shit ain't even what it was.
Everybody be like, what?
Hey.
A chicken? You know what I'm saying?
With the Bible, it's a little different, though.
Because
you can compare it to other copies.
Hold on, James. Let's spin to come on here, man.
Sorry.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say that the Bible's a little different because you can compare it with other copies. So if something is not supposed to be in there, you can easily tell it by matching it up with the other copies.
How many books have you read?
Pause.
Of the Bible?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. How many versions have you read?
How many versions?
Yes.
Verses.
Versions. Different versions.
Oh. Different copies.
I haven't took the ESV version and read that through, or I haven't took.
But even, we're talking about reference. Reference.
I have looked in it, Mm-hmm.
So okay, when you're looking at when you're comparing Bibles and whatnot, bro, when you're reading these Bibles and then you see it's a difference, you know what I'm saying, and what's being said, this is because you're using the word authentic. If I say something is hey man, this is authentic leather that I'm wearing.
Right.
This is authentic. That means that this is real, untampered, pure, and uncut. You can't say that. You can't say that about the Bible because it's been too many translations.
And then you have to take it all the way back to the Torah. Who the Jewish have that?
Yeah, what they was reading.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of translations have to do with your kind of thought process. Different religions carry different translations of the Bible.
Okay.
Like a Catholic or maybe,
or a Mormon.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can be misconstrued and twisted.
I believe that if you grasp on to what Jesus actually taught the apostles and the apostles basically teaching us, through the word of God, then you'll be okay. If you go by what Jesus taught his apostles, obviously it wasn't in vain. Obviously Christ died for what he wanted his apostles to preach and spread. So obviously it's important. I can't think of something that I would die for that's not important. So I think that's where it's at right there.
All right. So, but at the exact same time, at the exact same time though, I'm not frustrated. It do take me back. It do take me back sitting in them pews. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I told you, I'm Church of Christ, man.
And I see that, and I respect it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can say the things that I say with so much conviction, because at one time I believed it. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it. It's still in me. You know what I'm saying? It was drilled in me. I think religion should not control people, but influence people. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean control though? Because if God has a rule, is that control? I mean, you know what I mean? Because he, you know, does that mean that?
So let's check this out. So what is let's look at okay. So according to history,
right?
Mary was 14. Joseph was an old man. Okay, so we're going to assume that eventually they had sex, correct? Polygamy, things of that nature. If those things are in the Bible, are those things accepted in a church setting?
You mean as far as, you know, like marrying someone younger, like that, the same situation as Joseph, you mean?
A 14-year-old being with a 36-year-old. Let's just talk
well,
about
it. You have to think about the time that was in too. It was okay to do that back then, just like it was okay to have sex with your sister in the Old Testament or your father, because at
Why
that
is that
time,
so confusing?
Because at that time, God had to replenish the earth, or he had to build up the earth. So that's why it was okay for you to sleep with your father or however it go. But now that the earth is at its full capacity, there's no need for that now. So that's why it's cut out.
So that's a rule change.
Yeah, that's not going.
No hand checking. Going. Go ahead, Sister Brown. Right. Hold on, Dr. Brown got something to say. Go ahead, sir. Oh, are you still there? Is anybody still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, go ahead, Sister Brown.
I'm here.
Right, I had to make sure.
I'm ready for somebody to take a breath. Go ahead, Sister Brown.
Yeah, go ahead.
With all due respect, honey. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was mostly when mentioning the Mary and Joseph situation. That was arranged marriages, and that was Jewish custom.
Yeah.
Business, money transfer, land, cattle. You know, everything that Job had and existed back then. Arranged marriages. It was always for future. You know, back then. The future was always planned for early.
Yes.
You know, and so, but that's just because of a lot of divorce. It's just different in today's age. You know, movements change that and even some religions. But anyways, but for Mary and Joseph, that was an arranged marriage. But Joseph didn't. When Mary was pregnant, she was pregnant by the Holy Spirit.
Correct.
And he did care for her as
a man, like a man would take care of his wife. Yeah, because he was bestowed to her. He, like in the Lost Books, it does teach that he was an older man with children that were Mary's age, and that's something that he did not want to do. So that's why the Holy Spirit had to come to him and tell him, "Hey, bro, it's good. It's God's baby, bro. We need you to raise it. You know what I'm saying? We need you to raise the Messiah." You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, I love the way that Dr. Brown brings us back to the history aspect. And if I can use a word that Brother Doc has been saying, is that making it tangible, because it is a lot about a certain group of people. It is a lot about a certain bloodline. You know what I'm saying? It's something about Jews, and then somewhere they turned into Israelites, and then they turned into Hebrews.
But here's the thing is with Joseph that I love, the father who raised Jesus, is that he was a Nazarite. And so that's where that comes from. That's where that carpentry comes from. And in 2020, we're away from jobs with our hands where we're building, and we can pass those things down to our children. And there's a term for that.
Doctor, did you say that you said Joseph was a Nazarite?
A Nazarite.
Oh, a Nazarite. Okay.
From Nazarene.
Yeah,
And that
okay.
was the whole community.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Right.
That's
Right.
his that's where his stepdaddy from.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right.
So can I ask a question to is it Sister Brown?
Brandy.
Dr. Brown.
Brandy, yes, sir.
Dr. Brandy. I'm sorry, dear.
She earned that. Let her look it up.
Right. Now, because I have my notebook and stuff, but then we just kind of getting loose or whatever. But so my question is so like, do you believe that like Black people is the chosen, like is the chosen people? Do you believe like in a chosen people?
No.
That was a great question.
And I believe is it okay to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I'm sorry. Oh.
My co-host, James Duck.
Sorry. So I'm sorry.
No, I believe that the Black man, Black women was the first. And scientifically, a white woman can't give birth to a Black. You know, I said this before on Brother Dinez's show, is that race is political. The color of our skin is political. And that was scientifically made after the Declaration of Independence at the end of the 1700s, where now we're being told that we're Negroid for a reason to oppress.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but if you look at the Bible, if you look at where Eden was, and even when you go beyond Adam's generation, when you go beyond Noah's generation, you are still in the boundaries and the parameters of Africa. And so, if you look at even the theory of Pangea, where today we have 7 continents, but millions of years ago, because the human race, we're a million years old. And so there was a time it was just one land. So now we got the 7 continents, but our early ancestors circumnavigated this whole earth. We used tools for boats and wagons, and we populated Black people. So I do believe Black people, this melanin's been here we out-dominated life.
Right, but so with that being, so my question is though, so once we start, I mean, because now once we start getting into that, right? If we mixing, I mean, if we're talking scientifically, because it obviously sounds like that we all agree that scientifically it's just the word scientific to be scientific. Period. You can dissect it however you want, use semantics, but that's just an explanation of what happened, right? So with that being said, if Black people was the original people, and white people derived from us, it's still people. Like you know. So I mean, because I agree with that. I mean, because I agree wholeheartedly. I think that I mean, geographically, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like you born, like you was like it all started in the African region, right? Without being specific, and that's why you have three typical body types of people. Like you have the Negroid, the Mongoloid, and the Caucasoid, right? They have different bone structures for the most part, human, but they all have different. They have the same. They just have they have different bone structures based off where they were throughout the land, based off scientifically,
like what they would need, what they would need to survive there.
White people was born in from less, like you adapt. It's all an explanation. So white people is white, and because that's why they don't like sun, because they came from a place where the sun wasn't that abundant to where.
So they came from Alaska.
That's why you don't like sun. That's why white people don't, and so on and so forth. That's not just scientific. But now today, that don't make sense. Like now it's all different. So that it changes the whole game. And you can talk about, like, make it make sense today. And there goes your prophet or your new leader or your person that can make you believe in what make, like, in a higher power. Because what makes, we, like, people talk about faith, right? And faith is that's smooth, right? Until you lose somebody. And you like, man, that's God's plan. God put them emotions in me. God put those things in me. He's the reason why I think like I think.
No, he's the reason that you think.
And the way you think is relative.
That's your free will. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Thinking is your free will. That's what that's why I even brought up the whole Job story. The whole Job story is about your mind.
Exactly.
You know
but then when you bring it back, when you bring it back and you try to make it sense, because it sounds like, and the problem, and like we always talk about, the problem with religion is like everybody try to make it make sense to you.
Yeah.
And everything always is relative. If you think about it, well, you can make, for all, and I mean this with all due respect to any belief or anything, but can't you make Greek mythology make sense? And I say this because
it did at one point. It did.
It made sense at one point, and it could be argued just as well. And it's really kind of depending on the depiction of different people's thoughts and beliefs. It's kind of the same stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's just whatever the collective. That's why, back to my premise. Whatever the collective believes, like, their God is king in that land. Period. I want to thank everybody for coming on, man. We almost went a full 2 hours, man. We're definitely going to come back out, because I do want to have you guys come back. I will hope that you'll come back. I want to have you guys come back, and I want to talk about religion and race, because I see where Doc was going, and I understand where the good doctor was at with that as well. And we do have to make things make sense now for us. Now, I want to thank everybody that came on the panel today, man. I am Hyphen X, man. Always remember, you don't always have to agree. Hyphen. Appreciate it. You don't always have to agree to have a great conversation. Peace.